the current conditions, so current weather dot is daylight, and false. It's not daytime anymore. Hey everyone, welcome to an episode of Coding Unscripted, basically where I just straight up code without any script for my videos like I usually do. In today's video, we're going to be building a synthesizer and using one of Apple's new APIs called WeatherKit to control the synthesizer. Let's get started. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is go into Xcode and create new project. Now today I'm going to be creating a macOS app and I will name it WeatherSynth. Alright, so now we have this bundle ID that's going to come in handy later once we need to add the capability. Alright, and there we go. So first thing you're going to want to do is go into signing in capabilities, and then we're going to add that WeatherKit capability. So go down here, and we can actually just search it, and then we're going to add that to our app. Awesome. So now let's go ahead, copy this capability, and go ahead and go to your certificates, identifiers, and profiles in the Apple developer. And next we're going to add a new app ID, hit enter, and then we can call this weather capabilities. And then we can put in our app ID there and go down to WeatherKit, click continue, register. And then now we go to this, go to app services, WeatherKit, and check that. Awesome. So now they said we should wait 30 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set a timer. And then I'm going to do 30 minutes. For how long? Is there a way I can? Oh, there we go. Awesome. So that's going now. We have that timer going. So next we're gonna do some fun stuff here with our app. So let's do that. So first things first, we need a synthesizer. So how are we gonna do that? We're gonna use something called a sound font. Now a sound font allows you to generate sounds. So we're gonna download this sound font here by Jordy, and it's really cool. I enjoy it. So let's go ahead and do that. And once we have that, it should be in our downloads. So we can go ahead and drag that into our project and add it to target. All right, so now once you have that, we can add the packages. So today we're going to be using another third-party framework. So WeatherKit is made by Apple, but we're going to be using AudioKit, a third-party framework, in order to use the synthesizer. So let's go ahead and add that along with, can you add multiple? Oh, dang it, you can't add multiple. I guess we'll just add AudioKit first. And then we're also going to use AudioKit X. And then finally, Dune AudioKit and SoundPipe AudioKit. So I'll do SoundPipe AudioKit and Dune AudioKit. Awesome. So now that we have those, we can start creating stuff. So let's import AudioKit, and then import AudioKit X, import SoundPipe AudioKit, and import Dune AudioKit. And first things first, when we create stuff, we're using Swift UI, so we're going to need to create a separate class that generates our audio. So we do class audio, audio content, and then we can add an audio engine that's going to process the audio. Then we add a sequencer that's going to tell our synthesizer what chords to play. And then finally we add that synth. So that will be a MIDI sampler because it's going to take in the MIDI from our sequence. All right. So now we can add an init, and inside that we set our engine output to the synth. And also I'm going to make a setup function that's going to set up our sequencer. So that will do, first we're going to do sequencer dot new track, and in order to silence this warning that this call was unused, we can just do something like that, and then we set our sequencer MIDI output. So right here, global MIDI output, that's going to output MIDI to our synth. So we do that, and then MIDI in. Awesome. And also I like to enable the looping, so we can do sequencer dot enable looping. And what else am I missing here? I think we also want to load the sounds, so we can do synth dot load sound font, and our file is sawtooth. Preset is 0. I just always do 0 unless it has multiple instruments. Awesome. So now we can do func play is going to do sequencer dot play, and then func pause is going to do sequencer dot stop, because it doesn't have a pause right now, I don't believe. And then we can do start, which we are going to try starting the engine. If this doesn't work, it's going to crash. So hopefully it will work. And then we can also do a stop. And for that one, we don't need to try. We can just stop. Awesome. So now let's do start right off the bat. Then we can do setup sequencer. And next we need to set up our groove. So we can do func create groove. And this is going to take in a chord depending on, I'm going to do whether it's daytime. So right now, obviously you can see it's daytime. So I'm going to do chord, and this is going to be an array of MIDI notes. And then we can do, first we're going to say the starting position is beat 0. So position, and we'll make this a var. So var position is a duration, and that is a duration that's, right now it's at 0. And then finally we need a length, and that's going to tell us how long are the notes. So you guys can do any duration you want, but I'm going to do for this a 16th note. Awesome. So then we do for note in chord sequencer dot tracks dot first add our note, and then velocity, I'm going to do maximum. Position is position, and duration is going to be our duration, or actually length, sorry. So length. And then after that, we want to increment our position. So to do a little syncopation here, I'm going to add 0.5 instead of 0.25. So we do duration, and then 0.25 or 0.25. Awesome. So we also want to pause our sequencer if it's already playing, and then we can do sequencer.clear or sequencer.tracks.first.clear and play at the end. And finally, oh, this needs a throw, so we're going to do the same thing we did with the engine start and try to do it. If it doesn't work, it's going to crash the app. Okay, so that's all that. Now I'm going to go get our chords for us. So we can go ahead and input these numbers here. So we're going to do our daytime chord is going to be an array of MIDI note numbers, and that's going to be 57, 64, 60, 67. So we can do 57, 64, 60, 67. And then we do our nighttime chord, is MIDI note number, and that's going to be 53, 64, 60, 67. Okay? And for now, we're just going to set up our daytime chord. Since we don't have access to the API yet. Let's see, we still have about 21 minutes left. So we could do sequencer, and then, or actually, sorry, we can just do create groove and then daytime. All right, so now we should hear some cool audio from our synth. I can't wait. Do you guys think it's gonna work? Think it's gonna crash? Leave it down in the comments below. I think it's gonna work. Oh, actually it's not gonna work, but it's not gonna crash. And here's why. So give it a minute. Okay, so the reason we don't hear any sound, pause the video, guess, is because we haven't actually initialized anything inside of our UI class. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna copy all of this, because this is a raw file that I've been doing the whole time. And I'm gonna paste that all of here inside the content view. So we got our class here, and then inside the content view, I'm gonna do let audio content is equal to audio content. Awesome. So now we should hear sound, hopefully. Okay, what happened here? Maybe we need Swift UI. Yeah, I think we need that. Awesome, okay. Let's try. So it worked. It just, one thing it didn't do was save, or loop. I mean, one thing it didn't do is loop our sequence. So we need to make sure, where are we calling this enable looping? I think what we need to do is we need to move this out of here. And for some reason, we need to call this after we set up the track. So we can do enable looping right here. And let's see that. Awesome. So we got our chord working. Now we want to add some effects. So let's go ahead and do that. So the effects I'm going to add, first I'm going to do a delay. So delay is delay, and we'll do var. Then we're going to need a reverb. So I'm going to do Costello reverb. And then I also want to do a filter. So we do low pass, which is a Korg low pass. And then finally, am I missing anything? Oh yeah, I also want to do a flanger, because I think I like that. I like that effect a lot. And then finally we need an output volume, kind of a booster. So we're gonna make that a fader. Awesome, so now what we can do is create our delay. So our delay is going to be the synth, and then reverb is going to have Costello reverb of our delay, and then low pass is Korg low pass of our reverb, and then flanger is flanger of the low pass. And finally, output volume is a fader with our flanger, and output volume, I'm going to set it to, I'm going to set the gain to 5 dB, I think, or it might be linear gain. Anyway, now we can set this to our output volume and see what happens. I like that. You guys probably can't hear it very well, so I'm going to boost up that gain to 10. All right, so me being me, the input volume was actually higher, so I needed to turn down the gain back to 1. But anyway, let's go ahead and add in the WeatherKit. So next thing we need to do is import WeatherKit and then import core location. And for my location, I'm just going to use a city that's nearby. So you can go to this website, find latitude and longitude, and then I'm just going to go ahead and add that. So we could say let current location is a CL location, and then paste in the latitude and the longitude. Awesome. So next, to get the weather, we can add a function called getWeather, and that's going to be something called an async function. And the reason that is because we don't know how long it's going to take to fetch the weather data from the server, so that's why we need to do an async. And we can do let result equals, and then we say await, because we're going to wait, and then task detached, and we're going to make a user priority, so that way the CPU knows this is when I have to complete this. So user initiated, and then inside here we could do our code. So we could do, that's weird. Wonder why that happened. Okay, so that's some weird formatting going on, but that's what the code is going to look like at the end. And then inside of here, we could say let current weather equals try await weather service dot shared dot weather for current self dot current location, and then including current. And finally, we want to return the value of this, so we do dot value and return current weather. Awesome. So now we can go down here and we say if result dot is daylight, or first let's unwrap that result. So we say if let current weather equal result, and then if current weather is daylight, then we set up, or we create our daylight groove. So we say create groove and then daytime chord, and else we're gonna create groove and do our nighttime chord. Okay, so instead of creating the groove here, now we can just run get weather, but we need to create another task. So we say task detached, and then priority, user, and I'm just going to delete that here and create a block here. And then we can say await self.getWeather. Oops. Get weather. Awesome. Let's try and see what that does. So since it's still daytime outside right now, it's going to play our daytime chord. So that's what's going on there. So next, let's get some other parameters in here that can modify our effects. So I'm going to say flanger, and I'm going to set the feedback of the flanger, and that's going to be based on the cloud cover. So cloud cover is, I believe, from 0 to 1. So we could say current weather dot cloud cover, and let's go and make sure if we click on this feedback, it says 0 to 1. So both of them are 1 to 1. They're the same range. And as you will see, it fails because we need to convert this to an AU value. So we could do that. And while we're at it, let's also set the flanger depth. So we could say flanger depth is equal to 0.5. And we could do flanger.frequency is equal to 5 hertz. Awesome. So now it sounds a little bit nicer. And just to see here, we can print out our current weather cloud cover. And we can see it's pretty low, so that's why the feedback isn't a lot. But let's see what happens if we do 1 minus that. Then we should get a lot of feedback. So we can kind of invert that. Yeah, so that's a lot of feedback. So yeah, that's that. We can also do the temperature. So let's go ahead and go into the actual weather app here and see kind of the minimum and maximum temperature. So we can see today that the low is 60, the high is kind of 77. So what we're going to do for that is pick a parameter here. So I'm going to say probably modify the low pass frequency. So we can do that. So we can say low pass dot cutoff frequency is equal to AU value. And then cool thing about this is we could do current weather dot temperature and then converted to Fahrenheit and then value. So that's going to give us the actual value of the temperature. Now you can see that's just setting that to the current temperature, which is, let's see, let's print this whole thing. So that probably means it's a very low frequency. Yeah, it's 75.4. So what we want to do is kind of range that to a minimum and a maximum. And cool thing about AudioKit is if we go into here and we go to Utilities, AudioKit Helpers, there's a function called Mapped, which can do just that. So it's going to convert that range for us. So we could do this whole thing. We're going to do mapped from a range, which is going to be the minimum temperature. So I'm going to say minimum temperature is 60 to around 80 degrees is our maximum. And then 2. And to do this, we're going to get the low pass frequency minimum and the low pass frequency maximum. So we can do double and then low pass dot frequency or cutoff frequency dot min value. And then finally get our max value. Awesome. So now that will map it to the appropriate range and we'll get some better sound from that. So as you can see, we're still pretty close to that maximum temperature, so that's why it's at a higher frequency. But anyway, there's a ton of stuff that you could do with this. I'm probably going to make a part 2 for this, but let's test out and see if the daylight works first. I'm going to show you what it looks like out currently, and then we're going to wait until the daylight is gone, so that way we can test and see if it switches to the nighttime chords right here. So see you later. So as you can see, it's still light out. This is what it looks like out currently. So we can go ahead and wait and see what it looks like when it's dark, or rather what it sounds like. See you then. Hey everybody, so I was just playing around. It's about 9:04 and it looks like our synth switched to the nighttime chords. So let's go ahead and play it. So I think I'm gonna remove the flanger because it's a little obnoxious right now, not gonna lie, at least to my taste. But let's see now. Yeah, so that's our nighttime chord. And just to be sure, we can actually go in here and print the current condition. So current weather dot is daylight, and we're going to print that. So let's go ahead and print that and see, is it actually daylight? And false, it's not daytime anymore. So before we end it off, for part 2 here, I'm going to take you guys outside and show you what it looks like, just so you can see. So it's currently 9:06 p.m. As you can see, the moon is out right there. Probably can't see it very well, but there still is daylight, but apparently the API was returning that there is no daylight. But I think it's still pretty accurate because the sun has basically gone down, so I think it's going based off that. But anyway, hope you guys enjoy. Make sure to leave a like if you did, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.